Well, hello there, everyone. Hopefully, you're doing outstanding. Today is Sunday, September the 11th, year 2022. So, first of all, never forget what happened on 9/11/01. I'll never forget it. I remember waking up early the very next day. It's like, we're still here because you just never know what might happen. It changes things, just like the Great Recession might have changed people. 9/11 changed people, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, etc., etc. Me being exposed to combat in the country of Panama. Not that I fought in combat, but I was exposed to it. Changed me as a young man. Visiting the country of Peru when I was like 20 years old, 21. Seeing true poverty, not the fake stuff we have here in the United States. True poverty changed me as a person. So anyway, what am I going to talk to you about today? I'm going to talk to you about needs, wants, and desires, let's say. Needs, wants, and desires. All right? If you're the typical American, and let's say you're a typical working American with a 401k, something like that. All right? And you know a little bit about investing, just a little bit, like your HR department talks to you about having a 401k, all right, and putting money into your 401k. And you might have heard something about the 4% rule, and maybe you have a goal, maybe you can get to $1 million saved up, or $500,000 saved up. And then you start hearing that when you retire, you need to live off of like 70% of your income because you're no longer driving to work. You're no longer buying work clothes. You're no longer eating lunch out at work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what they're grooming you for, yes, grooming you. What they are grooming you for is to be poor when you're older. That is what they're doing. And most folks don't even realize it. All right, so how do we change the way we think? How do we modify our future to have a better lifestyle? Because after you have the basic necessities, needs, we need food, we need shelter, we need the basic necessities to survive. All right, living in the United States of America and in the majority of countries around the world, not all of them, but a lot of them, your needs can be easily basically met by working a job. Or if you're a kid, your family provides for you. Okay, that sort of thing. All right, the wants, especially for Americans, I think, the wants come into play when someone starts working a job. They got a steady paycheck. They want a new car. Oh, they have an iPhone 5, but the iPhone 6 comes out. They have the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14 comes out. They want. They move to Southwest Florida and they see everyone around them has a boat. They want that boat. But how do all of these folks pay for it? Now, I won't say all of them. How do the majority of them pay for it? They finance almost everything. They might finance their phone. They might finance their car. They might finance their truck, their Hummer, their F-250, their boat, their motorcycle, their jet ski, whatever it is. They finance it. All right? Or they take a HELOC out. Maybe they're in their 40s. They've paid down their mortgage a bit. Real estate prices have gone up. They own their primary residence but still got a mortgage. They take a HELOC out and buy a toy because they want it. All right? And then they dream about the rich people who have the luxury. They can travel whenever they want. They don't live with us peons. They live in a nicer house. They eat nicer. Everything's nicer. They fly first class. Everything's nicer. All right? So you have the needs, the wants, and the desires, the dreams, the wealth. All right? Where do you fall in this? Where do you fall? A lot of financial folks, especially those who are not into real estate, will tell you to, and I've said this before, pull your belt tight. Sacrifice. Now, to pursue reaching a higher level. And I still stick with that. That's okay. Because if you don't have a lot of money, you're working a job, you just don't have a lot of money, and you say, I can't invest, well, then you have to cut expense. You either got to work more, get a side hustle, work overtime, or you got to cut expenses. I'm not going to cover how to cut expenses, even though I've done it myself. I know what to do. This video will get too long. I'm not going to cover it. But you can cut expenses. You can downsize your housing. You can sell your luxury house and move into a duplex that you bought and have your tenant pay your mortgage for you. All right, you can live for free, because if you can reduce your housing costs, you have so much more money and you can use it to invest. But let's say you're meeting your needs, you're working a job, you have a paycheck, you have a little bit of extra money because you are buying your wants. You're buying because we're Americans, right? Or we're Canadians, or we're whatever. It's our right to improve our lifestyle, right? Because we're working. We need to move up with our house, move up with our vehicle, move up with our cell phone, all right? Because we have a paycheck. But what happens then when the day comes and you're going to retire? Are you going to live off 70% of your income? Are you going to downsize your life? Why? There's another way. There's a better way. There's a much better way. So let's back up a bit. You got your needs met. You've been buying some wants, but you realize you got to do something different. All right? Here's a better way. Save some of the money you're making for your toys. If you got a payment of $350 a month for your car, your truck, your boat, your motorcycle, your whatever, you got a $350 a month payment. You got a $350 a month payment on your HELOC that you used to buy your boat, your car, your truck, whatever. All right, let's pay down that debt. So let's get that $350 back. All right, so you're not paying it anymore. And then don't finance anything else. And then save up that $350 and save up anything else you can save. Say you can get $500 a month. Depends on what you make. That might seem daunting. That's a lot, but it might not be a lot. But you save up $500 a month, that's $6,000 in a year. All right. You could start putting that into investments that will pay something. Because the way to pay to improve your lifestyle is to replace your income. The way you replace your income is by buying dividend-paying stocks. Dividend-paying stocks can pay you dividends. Buying real estate pays you rents. Buying another investment that could pay you rents, royalties, revenue, something like that, like oil investing or mineral rights, they pay you monthly. You get income. And there's a way to do it with options. I'm not going to cover options. I'm not going to cover anything in detail. But there's different, and there's interest from the bank, okay? So, but interest from the bank, or an interest, just interest, is very low right now, all right? So you got to start buying these assets. And you can start with $50. You can start with stocks. I said this in one of the video, I think. Say you own a S&P 500 index fund, just a basic index fund, because that's what everyone does. That's what HR says to do. That's what everyone does. Let's say you can start buying dividend-paying stocks, and you can start building a dividend stock portfolio. All right? You're young-ish, so reinvest those dividends. If you're going to do this, reinvest those dividends. Those dividends will buy you more shares, which will increase your dividend. And if you buy dividend aristocrats, dividend kings, they have a long history of increasing their dividend every year. So not only are you getting more shares that pay you more dividends, they raise their dividend. And then that keeps happening, and it keeps compounding and compounding and compounding, especially if you're younger. Why stick your money in an S&P 500 index fund? Personally, I like buying individual stocks, but most folks out there don't want to learn this. It's easy, but they don't want to learn. So buy dividend stocks. They're easy. It's easy. You can Google dividend aristocrats, dividend kings, and just start buying some. All right, and let them compound. But then, at the same time, be saving up that down payment or figuring out how to get your first rental property. Because you got to get your first. Just get your first. Because if you get your first, you got positive cash flow. And then save that positive cash flow and buy your second. And then buy your third and buy your fourth. I've made videos in the past about how the average working American can get to 4 rentals, can get to 10 rentals. We can do that. I'll talk about it again in future videos. All of you can do that. You can do that. I've talked about positive cash flow. Let's just say you stick with that $250 a month and you get 4 houses. Now you have $1,000 a month. What can you do with that $1,000 a month? All right. You can stop right there, or you can keep investing it. All right. I went from 0 to 25 rentals in just under 4 years. Once I got there, things started happening. The wheels started turning. I improved my lifestyle. I was not content to stay in the house that I had lived in and paid off. It was small, it was old, the yard was big, it had a big hill, but I was not content to stay there. I had a dream. I wanted to do something. I used my assets, my rents coming in, to purchase a larger house in Southwest Florida that has a swimming pool that is on the water, the Gulf access water. Okay, so my investments are paying for that. At the same time, I'm still buying investments. I've purchased rentals, I've purchased mineral rights, I've purchased oil. They're all paying revenue. I'm still buying. I think in the past month, I've bought 3 positions and 3 mineral rights, something like that. Yeah, in about the past month, 4 or 5 weeks or so. And I plan to buy some more. And I plan to get some more rentals. Because each time I buy an asset, I increase my cash flow. And as I increase cash flow, I can purchase my wants. I wanted a dock with a tiki hut. I now have a dock with a tiki hut. I wanted fences. I now have fences. I desire a nicer pool. It's coming. All right. How am I going to pay for this? I'm not financing it. I'm using my investments to pay for it. But let's say if I want to get a boat, I've mentioned on this channel, perhaps I want to get a boat sometime. Let's say it costs $40,000 or $50 or $60 or $70 or $80,000. I've made the comment that before I get one, I want to have the cash saved up where I can pay cash for it. And I want to be able to afford the lifestyle such as purchasing gas. And if you take a boat out, you need to eat while you're out there. And it's so tempting to stop at a restaurant, a waterfront restaurant, pull up, tie off, and go in and eat. It's enjoyable. But that's getting into on the verge of like the luxury type thing, right? But let's say you want to move into that realm. Do you finance it or do you buy assets that will pay for it? All right, think about it. We have the needs, we have the wants, and now we got the third category, the wealth, the luxury, the dreams, the desires, that category. If you get into real estate investing, you can get to this third category. You can reach the higher level. All right, but you got to get started. I've harped on this going back 1.5 years. You just got to get started. You got to get your first. You're going to have some hard times. You will. You're going to struggle. You're going to have a tenant that refuses to pay rent. There's going to be problems. You're going to have to buy a furnace or put a new roof on. Things are going to happen, but you got to stick with it. You get your first, your second, your third, your fourth, your fifth, and you keep going if you want to. If you're content to stay right where you're at, you've replaced your income, you paid off your primary residence, you have no desire to move, no desire to get a bigger house, no desire to get fancy or luxurious or whatnot, okay, that's your decision. Stop. If you don't want to buy more investments, stop once you're at that point. But you got to replace that income because for all of us, we never know when that bus might hit us and we don't die. We're just damaged and we can no longer work. We never know when a robot is going to replace us in our factory. We never know when a robot is going to cause law enforcement to downsize because robots can do some of the same jobs that some cops do. We never know what will happen to that paycheck. So you need to have other sources of income. You need to have other assets. People always need a place to live. All right. Now they need a job to pay it. So you got to have that. People always want to drive their vehicles. We're not 100% electric yet. They need the oil. They need the gas. People need to heat their homes. They need natural gas. They need electricity. They need oil for the furnaces, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Cash paying assets. Dividend stocks can pay income. They can help supplement your real estate. If you have real estate currently and you have an S&P 500 index fund, I strongly encourage you to get dividend stocks. and build up that dividend portfolio and let the dividends, why gamble? Why go for that 9% a year that may flatline for the next 15 years with an S&P 500 index fund? Get those strong companies that keep increasing their dividend year after year and let them compound until such a time where you stop reinvesting and you start drawing on those monthly or quarterly dividend checks and you're using them to live the luxurious lifestyle. If you paid attention to my channel, that's what I'm doing. I've mentioned different things. I have flown first class in recent months on airplanes. I have eaten in higher quality restaurants. I have stayed in nicer quality places. I am talking about improving my lifestyle above and beyond what it is now. I'm talking about potentially moving. If my house will sell for $900,000 to $1,000 to $1 million, perhaps I want to move to a $2 million house. How am I going to do that? I'm going to keep buying assets that will provide the cash flow that will allow me, if I want to improve my lifestyle. That's how I'm going to do it. That's how you can do it. I want to help you get there. Let me know what you want me to talk on. If you haven't bought your first, let me know how I can help you get started. All right, just put something in the comments below. Please subscribe if you want to subscribe. I should have said this at the beginning, but roughly 35% of my viewers are not subscribers. Help me out. Subscribe. It helps the YouTube algorithm so I can potentially reach more people to help more people out. So with that being said, I have my cup of green tea that I'm almost finished. We're headed towards that lunchtime hour. Every meal's an adventure. So y'all take care, stay safe, and keep loving life. Mazke's signing out.